ang sabi sa research, there is no net neutrality in the Philippines. Because telcos in our country package games, messaging platforms, and most importantly, social media platforms into their plans and data promos. Nakikita naman natin, di ba? Ang Facebook ay free data, kaya nga yung Bayanihan e-Konsulta ay nasa Facebook para hindi kailangan ng data to be able to access it. Pero ano yung downside about it? Yung mga tao, because yun yung nasa free data, yun na lang yung kanilang source of information. Hindi na sila nakaka-access. Doon sa ibang, siguro more legitimate, sources of information dahil hindi yun available on free data. So free access to social media can seem like a good deal, di ba? Okay na free data yung Facebook. Until one realizes that since Facebook is free, and news sites like Google, siguro INQUIRER or Philippine Star, and all the other mainstream media outlets, they're not available on free data. Then regulators have handed over a near monopoly on the flow of information to these platforms. Platforms that have algorithmic bias and can be gamed. This process ultimately crowds out legitimate media from the communication space. Napansin niyo naman, di ba? Yung influence ng legitimate media ngayon, hindi na kasing pareho nun dati. It grants the influencers and trolls, whose loyalties lie with the highest bidder, the same, if not more, a latency than traditional sources of information. So trained journalists who subscribe to a certain code of ethics in their practice. Volume becomes the name of the game, rather than truth or reliability. Diba? Mas importante na ngayon yung virality kesa sa truth, which should not be the case at all. And while net neutrality was cast aside without much resistance here in the Philippines, the debate is much more intense elsewhere in the world. In Europe, the European Union has introduced to the world two important laws. Yung isa doon, yung Digital Services Act, and yung partner doon, yung Digital Markets Act. Both of them aim to protect users, to give them better control over how their personal data are used. Under the Digital Services Act, internet service providers and digital platforms are responsible for transparency and algorithms, removal of illegal products, services, and other content after being reported, creating a reporting mechanism for users to flag illegal contents, and a ban on targeted advertising for minors and sensitive data. So very important piece of legislation, kailangan lang maayos yung implementation. Its partner law, the Digital Markets Act, concentrates on the digital economy to protect consumers and sellers from abuses by large service providers. Through this, users' personal data cannot be used for targeted advertising without consent, among others.